Good morning. It is May 21st, 2024, and I am excited to welcome you to another WiLS Taco Tuesday. We have a slate of four, as always, four presenters here today to show us what's new and cool or interesting from their companies. So in order to keep things nice and short, I'm going to immediately introduce our friend from Springshare, Sarah Probst. Sarah, are you ready to take over and show us what you got?
I sure am. Thank you.
Great.
All right. Let me get this pulled up here. Okay. Excellent. So good morning, everyone. As usual, it is an absolute delight to be with WiLS for Taco Tuesday. I haven't had lunch yet, so I am thinking about having tacos on Taco Tuesday. Um, so today I have some updates for you on some of the things that we've been working on since the beginning of this year, more or less, and some things that we've added since the last year for some of our products, as well as very exciting for you and for me, a brand new product that we're going to be launching in just a couple months. We've already released some information about it, and I'm very excited to talk to you about that today as well. But first up, we have some updates and some big updates to LibGuides and LibGuides CMS, specifically where our blogs are concerned. So as of this Friday, the 24th, we're going to launch the redesigned blogs interface for LibGuides and LibGuides CMS, which is going to include a brand new blogs user interface. Now, if you've already moved over to the new A to Z list interface, the blogs UI is going to be very comfy and very familiar for you. However, if you haven't explored the new A to Z list interface or made that transition, let me be the very first at Springshare to welcome you happily to the future look and feel of LibGuides. Now, some of the new feature highlights for the blog update are going to include a new blog homepage layout options for you. So those are going to be things like vertical card layout, horizontal card layout, or the blog post list. This is currently the default on all of our legacy guide blogs. You're also going to be able to customize whether or not a sidebar is included. Now, the sidebar content is totally customizable, and this is going to include options to add a LibChat widget if you're a LibAnswer subscriber, or helpful links boxes to other places around your website. Now, for me, as somebody coming from e-resources and who does a lot of analysis, one of the big things that's very exciting about the blog's overhaul is the blog statistics. So, and I've included a little sneak peek about what you can expect to see there, but this is going to include things such as view count, comments, likes, and things of that nature. And these are going to be information, or this is information you're going to be able to surface across all blog posts in your system. So very handy to be able to get that at a view. We're also including more granular controls for your blogs. So this is going to be things like turning your comments on and off, and when your comments are on, also the ability to turn on moderation for those comments. Now, you're also going to have an option for patrons to use LibAuth authentication moving forward instead of patron accounts to post comments. Alternately, because we love giving you all options, you're also going to be able to allow folks to leave public comments with no account registration via the use of a CAPTCHA. Last but not least, of course, is the ability to add subjects and ad hoc tags. The big thing here is adding those tags on the fly. This is going to be really great to make sure that your posts show up in all those right search results that your patrons are doing. Now, other things, and these ones are really exciting. I think these are some of the top feature requests that we've had in the lounge, so I'm very excited to talk to you about these. But for LibGuides and LibGuides CMS, the next thing that we have coming out for you are sublists. So if you've ever wanted to create curated database lists for specific types of patrons or use cases, so things like databases that allow alumni access, maybe databases in other languages, or maybe even databases curated specifically for like K-8 children, things like that. You can now do that with sublists in the new A to Z interface. Now, this is a functionality that is only available in the new version of the A to Z databases page. It's not going to be available in the legacy A to Z databases page. So again, if you haven't made that switch over to the new A to Z database page, we have a lot of resources to help you with that process. One of the things that I'm going to do for you right now, actually, is I'm going to drop my email into chat. And if you do have any questions about making that switch, or if you need any resources to get started, please go ahead and email me. I'll be happy to help you with that. Now, there are two types of sublists that you can create, and these are really great. You're going to be able to create auto-updating lists, which are going to automatically maintain themselves by adding or removing databases over time based on specified filters that you set. So for example, you could create a list that includes all alumni-only databases and is updated automatically based on the access mode criteria filter. Static lists are going to require manual updates by selecting databases to include. So this is more ideal for curating specific lists that aren't going to change much. So things based on specific topics, maybe things for specific classes, or even maybe things for events. Now, each sublist is going to generate a public page that's going to be accessible via its own unique URL. So very easy to get folks to your sublists. And then each page is also going to mirror the layout and style of the main A to Z databases page list as well. So you don't have to worry about messing around with your individual customizations then. Okay, and a big one, it is finally here. I am sure everybody is very excited. I am very excited. This is for LibGuides CMS subscribers only, and this is multiple A to Z lists, also known as A to Z resources. So we've been asked about this for a long time, and it's been a big goal of ours since we made that change or announced the A to Z overhaul last summer. LibGuides CMS libraries are now going to be able to create, organize, and share a range of different types of resources, all from within your LibGuides CMS system. Users are going to be able to create different types of assets and build those assets lists for your resources. So once your asset types and items are in your system, which you already have a good number of if you're using the A to Z list, you can then begin creating and organizing assets into brand new lists, kind of similar to the database sublists that I was just talking about, but the functionality is a little bit different here. Each A to Z list features customizable settings to control publication status, proxy redirects, public page formatting, and a whole lot more. So a bit more in depth than those sublists I was just mentioning. Again, if you have any more questions or you want to read anything more in depth about any of this, contact me. I'm happy to get you information about how to make these changes in your system. Also, if you are not already on the Springshare Lounge, and if you're interested in really detailed release notes, we have those for you. You can go ahead and sign up for the lounge. Those will be there for you. Now, LibStaffer. If you are not familiar with LibStaffer, this is going to be our staff scheduling and service point scheduling tool. It is really, really great, especially if you are doing your staff scheduling right now in Excel, on paper, or as one person I talked to, a giant Post-it up on their wall that they change every week. Bless them. But we have made some updates to LibStaffer as well for you. So by overwhelming popular demand and, again, currently the highest requested LibStaffer feature on the Springy Lounge, we're really excited to bring you the ability to enter a different name for user accounts to be displayed throughout LibStaffer, rather than making you default to the names that are associated with your LibApps information. So biggest on the list, and that is now available for you. One of the great features of LibStaffer also is the ability to track, approve, and run reports on time off requests. This is a really huge feature in there and something that a lot of people take advantage of. One of the reasons they really love the system. And the LibStaffer team has made several improvements to make this feature even better and more usable for admins. So regular level users can actually now view other users on the time off calendar. This is going to be great for helping people coordinate their time off. We also now have the ability to unassign users from a scheduled shift that conflicts with their time off request. For admins, this is going to be great. This means no hunting around for you in the schedule for it. It comes right up when they submit their request. And then we've also added a setting to prevent admin level accounts from approving their own time off. When active, these requests are entered by an admin for themselves will be set to pending for approval by another admin, rather just going straight to being approved. And everybody's favorite, LibCal. So this, of course, is our calendar and spaces and appointments and hours management solution. It is all in one. And if you love LibCal as much as I do, well, that is certainly a lot of love. So some things we've added here for you for LibCal include the ability to configure a virtual geographic boundary to only allow the check-in and check-out process for patrons to happen within those boundaries. Or alternately, you could restrict via IP. So we have geofencing and IP restrictions now available for you for those space and seat check-in and check-out processes. We also have a free image library when you're creating your events. This is really nice. It's in the featured image field. You'll now see a button that's labeled as search free photos, and that's going to open up a search using the image library provided by Pixabay. What's great here is that all of these photos are published under a CC0 license, which means you are free to use and edit them as you wish. So very easy to get those images into your events and not have to go hunting around on the internet for 30 minutes to find them. Now, this is what I was talking about when I said we have something brand new and very exciting for you. This is LibMaps. So we're announcing it now. It is not fully ready, but it will be soon. With LibMaps stack wayfinding, you're going to be able to add a clickable Find It button to your library catalog. When a patron clicks on the button, we're going to automatically display a map that points your patron to their desired item. We're going to be able to, or you, I should say, are going to be able to generate and upload a list of your existing stack call number ranges along with library if you have multiple buildings, zone if you have east wing, west wing, multiple floors, and collection information. So the built-in spreadsheet upload option allows you to easily upload all of your call number ranges in bulk. And then also you can offer patrons a browse the collection view for when they're in the library browsing. Patrons can view a list of call number classifications and sub-classifications. When they select an option, then we'll highlight the locations on the map in the library where they appear, making it very easy for them to find what they're looking for and still kind of maintain some of that serendipitous discovery that we all love. All right, so like I said, LibMaps coming soon. Keep an eye out. We'll be sending out lots of information about it. However, if you want to read a little bit more about it now, or if you'd like to get some more information about where we are in terms of the development process, I've gone ahead, or I am putting into chat right now, a link where you can learn more information and also request more information as well. So if you're interested in that, let us know. And then last but certainly not least, we have a special discount going on for all y'all through July 31st. So WiLS members can receive an additional discount off of your new Springshare purchases through the end of July. If you are interested in any Springy products, get in touch with your wonderful cooperative purchasing team. They'll be happy to provide a quote. And then if you have any questions about products or want a webinar or anything like that, that is what I am here for you for. And I'll be happy to get in touch with you about that. So yeah, if there's anything that we can do for you, of course, I am here for you and happy to answer any questions. And as always, Jeff, thank you so much for having me. Much appreciated.
Sarah, thank you for joining us. If anyone does have any questions for Sarah, please do feel free to put them into the chat window or the Q&A or raise your hand or whatever, and we'll try and get to those. I just want to say, holy smokes. Okay, LibMap sounds pretty cool. That's not, I did, is this brand new announcement? I don't feel like I've ever heard of this. So this is very exciting to me. And I think that could be really sweet. I've been in some libraries, worked in some libraries where I thought, man, I know that would be a really handy tool. So that's exciting to me. I'm sure others are excited too.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions coming in, but as always, do feel free to reach out to us here. Sarah shared her email in chat. We'll also include her email in the follow-up message. If you're watching the recording, you will have seen her email address in the email where you got access to the recording too. So please reach out. We'll get you the answers you need. Okay, I'm going to share my screen very briefly just to get us set up for our next presenter. Joining us next for Taco Tuesday, Steve Roses comes back to us again from HeinOnline. Steve, are you ready to take the reins?
Yes, I'm going to see if I can share my screen to show my PowerPoint here. I'm getting so used to Teams that just using Zoom again is just a little trip down memory lane, but now you can see my screen. And by the way, a great presentation from Sarah. So it's a delight to come right after her because she has everyone's energy up. And now I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's going on with HeinOnline. Many of you are familiar with HeinOnline Academic, and HeinOnline Academic is the package of databases that we offer to colleges and universities and community colleges that do not have law schools, that have some interest in topics like criminal justice, history, education, religion, even gender studies and economics, and much more. In fact, HeinOnline Academic has 3,200 multidisciplinary journals, more than 1,500 different research topics. And many colleges and universities use HeinOnline Academic as an alternative to databases like Nexus Uni or Westlaw, but we also have a lot of multidisciplinary material that those databases don't have. And so if you're looking to beef up sort of your political science department or even criminal justice or even religion or gender studies or economics, HeinOnline Academic is a way to go. And it's very inexpensive and it's very easy to use. It's affordable, comprehensive. It has intuitive tools, and we always make sure that you have lots of help resources, including a whole bunch of LibGuides that are available on HeinOnline with each one of our collections. So one of the ways we make HeinOnline available to folks who are not familiar with HeinOnline is to offer a 6-month free trial with absolutely no obligation. And this 6-month free trial allows you to have access both on campus and also remotely. And we keep adding new features to HeinOnline. So if some of you already subscribed, you may not know that we added something called Pathfinder, which is how all our topics are organized in HeinOnline. You can use both the graphical wheel to see how everything's organized in HeinOnline, or you can go to the outline format. But you can even do research on HeinOnline about applied sciences, humanities, industries, natural and formal sciences, and of course the social sciences. So this is another tool that gives you more interdisciplinary use through HeinOnline Academic. So we welcome you. If you haven't had a trial, definitely check out the Pathfinder tool. Just so you know, we have, once you subscribe or once you have a trial, you have the option, of course, of subscribing. There's no obligation at all to subscribe at the end of your trial. But if you did, it's good to know that there are WiLS discounts. So the first year using WiLS discount is you get a first year subscription discount of 50% off of HeinOnline Academic. Then as you're renewing, you get 5% if there are just 1 to 10 subscribers, or if there are 11 to 20 subscribers, you get 10%. And with 21 or more subscribers, 15%. So as the number of WiLS subscribers goes up, so too do your discounts. So that's something to be aware of. Something you all can get, and this is even if you don't get a HeinOnline trial, and certainly even if you don't get a HeinOnline Academic subscription, any individual institution any WiLS member can get a HeinOnline Social Justice Suite subscription for free. It's perpetual access, basically open access for 5 different databases: slavery in the world, gun regulation and legislation, civil rights and social justice, open society, which is basically international human rights material, and one of our more recent collections, LGBTQ plus rights. And there's a wonderful in the LGBTQ plus rights, there's a wonderful timeline through the history of the movement that lots of different schools have been using for courses and so forth. So just something to be aware of. If you already get HeinOnline Academic, you already get these 5 free databases as well. But if you don't have anything from HeinOnline now, that's a great way to figure out, to really get quality databases, updated databases, by the way, updated each month, even though there's no fee for them. So please be aware of that. Let me know if you want to get access to this. My email and also, of course, WiLS has all my email information, and I'll also put it in the chat for you after the PowerPoint. There are some new collections, what we call add-on collections. So if any of you are subscribers, you might want some timely information on voting rights and election law. This is a very inexpensive collection. It's a one-time fee. If you subscribe to HeinOnline Academic, you can just add this for a one-time fee. It's less than $500. Very easy to use and wonderful for your students who are learning about the election process come November. Another very, very interesting collection, also very inexpensive. This one's $295 for online and print together. So, because this comes with a book and it has 14 different subject areas. You know how countries have treaties with each other. So the United States will have a treaty with Canada and Mexico. Canada will have a treaty with Mexico. The UK will have a treaty with France, et cetera, et cetera. Well, sometimes US states have treaties with foreign governments, whether it be about trade or sharing of environmental resources, electricity, all sorts of things. And so if you were interested in seeing, well, what agreements does Wisconsin have with other countries? It might be Canada, China, Mexico. And in fact, every single state has agreements with other countries. And this book is the first of its kind, and also the online version of it, the first of its kind to make this available. This is $295. So really very interesting, especially if folks who care about what agreements Wisconsin has with other countries. Then some of you have pre-law programs. This is another add-on. We digitize all of these West academic hornbooks and nutshells and case books. And so this is a great way for your students who may be pre-law students to get to know legal materials, also how they've changed over time by having this West academic archive. That's something you can add to your subscription, or you can trial with a HeinOnline Academic trial. Another thing, some of you may have international programs, and even though you teach public policy in the United States, you may also have opportunities where you're teaching the law of other countries. For example, UK parliamentary materials from the UK, dealing with the UK Parliament. We have this whole new database. You're welcome to trial it. It's very interesting for people who want to compare, say, the US to other jurisdictions. People have given us great feedback on this. There's over 12 million pages of content on this new collection as well. And as you can remember, there's Steve Rose's I Am Your Rep, and there's also Tim Hoagie. There's also Roxanne Marmion. Together, if you've dealt with any of us, we all work very closely together, so just be aware. This happens to be my email, sroses@wshein.com. You can also call any of us, and we love to work with you. We love to take your questions. We love to hear your ideas. If there's ways we can improve our products or things you'd like to see, we welcome and love those concepts as well. Don't forget also that we are all over social media. Not only are we on what used to be called Twitter and Instagram, and also Facebook, but we're on LinkedIn, and we even have a YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and you Google HeinOnline and YouTube, you'll get to all these videos on HeinOnline, really helpful resources. So just be aware of that. And now I will stop sharing. Where are we on time? We have 4 minutes. I would love questions if anyone has any questions in the remaining minutes that we have.
Anyone here live who might have a question for Steve, please do feel free to put something into the chat or the Q&A. Steve, every time you join us, I'm surprised by something new that I didn't know you had available. So first of all, I have a weird, like, total layman's interest in UK kind of government and policy. I have no connection whatsoever to the UK and any material sets, but I'm always interested in it. So now I'm like, oh, I'd love to see some of the documents in that collection. So that's something that kind of caught my eye today. And then
it's fascinating because so many different countries, especially with similar systems, there's lots of overlap, but there's always a lot of differences. So it's always very neat to be able to see things like that.
Yeah, that's always what kind of intrigues me. You lived here your whole life. You're just sort of used to the way things work, or the way we think things work anyway. But then being able to get that other perspective, even only from a curiosity standpoint, let alone if I had some kind of professional or scholarly interest in it, I could see it be super valuable then too. So anyway, thank you again for joining us, Steve. As always, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Sure. Thank you so much. If anyone thinks of any questions after the fact, let us know. And we love working with you and talking to you. Can't wait to do the next Taco Tuesday next year as well. So,
well, we'll be sure we have you back.
Thank you.
Take care, Steve.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to take us to back to my screen again, just to get us prepared for our next presenter. Joining us, we're a couple of minutes ahead. So joining us next will be Victor Carker, coming to us from Scribble. Oh, I can see Victor's here. Victor, we're about 2 minutes ahead of schedule. Are you ready to go though?
I am. Why not? Why not jump in?
I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Victor, you can take over.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining. My name is Victor. I'm co-founder and CEO of Scribble. Happy to be back for another Taco Tuesday. We're going to spend the next 15 or so minutes talking a little bit about the research and writing process and how we can help with that. And also kind of the hot topic of the day, how we are helping with AI in that process. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But just a little bit of background. I'm Victor. I'm co-founder and CEO of Scribble. I started the company because I needed something like what I'm about to show you originally as a student. So it comes from a place of great personal need as a student. But over the years, we've worked with lots of educators, including classroom teachers and librarians, to help make Scribble what it is today. And then just a little background, you see at the top there, we have logos for the National Science Foundation and the Department of Ed, because throughout our history, we've gotten really competitive grants from both organizations, or both agencies, I should say. And so we're really proud to have that support and put that money to good use to develop a great platform for you all. This is kind of what we're going to talk about briefly. We're going to give you a little bit of an overview of Scribble, and then we're going to talk about how it actually helps with a major anxiety-causing issue right now because of AI, which is the AI plagiarism problem. So we'll talk about that and how Scribble can actually help with that. But first, let's give you an overview of what we do and who we are. I think that'll be good context for talking about the AI stuff in a little bit. In terms of a background, what we are addressing is unfortunately a very long-standing, well-documented problem in our country with regards to research and writing skills. The data shows that over half our kids in secondary struggle with research skills, and they've not been ready for college-level writing for quite a long time. And at the bottom there, you see a quote from the Chronicle for Higher Education, or a figure from the Chronicle that talks about how, unfortunately, students just aren't doing kind of the long form writing that we all would like them to do to help them prepare for college, and that maybe at one point we were doing. And there's a variety of factors for that. But in the work that we've done, we've sort of dissected the workflow to try to understand why research and writing is such a heavy lift for teachers, students, and librarians that support them. And what you see is that it's a pretty logistically complex learning experience, right? There's lots of steps involved, like what you see here on the left-hand side of the slide. And over the years, librarians, teachers, and students have had to cobble together a lot of different tools to get through that workflow. So you might use, for example, a standalone citation tool. You might use a PDF annotation tool to help you annotate database articles. You might use a web clipper to help you gather internet research and so forth. And then you're typically writing in Google Docs or Microsoft Word these days. And so with all these sort of hodgepodge of different tools and apps, and sometimes even printing things out, students get scattered work where it's hard to stay organized. And then for you all and the teachers that you work with, it's hard to teach and track students through that process because all the student data and work is trapped in these different data silos and these different ways of working. So what we've done with Scribble is really kind of consolidate a lot of these tools under one roof. That's why we call it a super app for research and writing. And it really kind of helps students stay organized and centralize the work. And also as a byproduct of that, it becomes centralized for teachers and librarians that are working with students to be able to easily access that work and provide feedback in real time. The quick and easy way for me to typically show you how this works is that we have a brief product explainer video that I'm going to show now. And usually I just turn up the volume on my computer here and you're able to hear it okay. But maybe if Jeff doesn't mind coming off of not showing his video and can give me a thumbs up to make sure that the audio is coming through okay, that would be really great. But watch this together. And just one caveat for anybody who is a Microsoft user, the video is very googly because it was made for a Google audience originally, and we're going to be updating that. But just know that everything we do in the Google world, we do in the Microsoft world as well. So don't tune out just because you're hearing a lot of Google in there. All right, let's go ahead and hit play. And if Jeff can give me a thumbs up to let me know he's hearing it okay, that'd be helpful. Oops, 1 second.
Until now, students have had to use multiple separate tools for their research and writing work, making it time-consuming, frustrating, and hard to stay organized throughout the process. Scribble unites this disjointed workflow by bringing everything together under one roof. It's a super app for students, educators, and librarians to curate, annotate, cite, and write. With Scribble, curating information is easy. Scribble saves web pages, PDFs, and database articles instantly to a cloud-based library with just a click of the Scribble Chrome extension. You can also add files like PDFs from your desktop and Google Drive. You can richly annotate articles directly in the browser and even collaboratively annotate with others in real time. Citations are generated automatically. Scribble pulls citation information from articles and books and instantly displays the properly formatted citation. The Scribble library stores a wide variety of file and information formats. Stay organized by using full text search and tags to find articles. Scribble also empowers the writing process. Quickly generate an outline by dragging and dropping quotes and comments from your Scribble library. In Google Docs, the Scribble add-on allows you to access your library so you can easily insert your outline and bring your evidence, comments, and citations into the paper while automatically updating your bibliography. Scribble is deeply integrated with Google for Education, including roster sync and assignment integration with Google Classroom. Scribble also offers rich analytics for tracking student progress in real time. Quickly see which students are struggling and where they're stuck. Scribble centralizes student work, making it accessible in one place and enabling educators to easily provide timely feedback throughout the entire process. For students, Scribble frees up valuable time wasted on manual and mundane tasks or higher level learning, like reading critically for quality evidence and crafting strong arguments. For educators, Scribble enables personalized instruction for close reading, research, and writing.
That's basically it. I'm going to close this and go back to the slides. Hopefully that was clear to folks. Feel free to, drop some questions into the chat or the Q&A. Certainly happy to answer them as we go along, but there may be also time at the end as well. A couple things, as I mentioned, the video is very googly, but we do everything in the Google world and that we do for the Microsoft world and vice versa. Well, not vice versa. We actually have a Teams integration we're working on that I guess would not sort of apply in the Google world. But just know that we support both ecosystems. And then we're also partnered and integrated with these kinds of platforms as well. And so, if you're using any of these things in your schools, know that we've got you covered there. The other thing is the video does a pretty good job of kind of showing the student experience in terms of the tools that help them with the research and writing process. It doesn't explain as much about what sort of, necessarily you all would see or what a teacher that you're working with would see, on an assignment. And so I wanted to take just a couple of minutes and talk through that a little bit. So on this slide, what you're seeing is something that was hinted on in the video, but wasn't really, this wasn't really covered in depth. I think it's worth unpacking this a little bit. So this is an example of, let's say, a research paper that the students have been asked to do. And you, as an educator that has assigned this, or maybe you're a co-teacher on this or co-instructor on this, can see actually a pretty holistic view of the writing process. Frankly, much more than what you've historically been able to see in one place. And again, that's because we've consolidated a lot of the tools under one roof. So we can show you, for example, how many students are on target and off target for different steps in the process. For example, how many students have started the research or not, started the paper or not, or met certain goals that you would have set for the assignment when you created it. And so at a glance, for example, a teacher can say, okay, I can see that I need to focus on these 5 kids because I can see where everybody's at, and these are the folks I need to focus on since the paper's due in 3 days, and they haven't even started the research yet. We also have data at the individual student level, so we can show you, for example, that Jordan here has collected 6 articles, met the first goal of having 5-sided sources, on her way to meeting the goal of having 1,000 words. Susan's a rock star because she's all in the green, she's already turned it in. Kara here still has a lot of work left to do. All things that you want to know ASAP as an educator that's working on this with the students, so that you can identify the students that maybe are getting off track or getting stuck early and help them essentially course correct and get unstuck before it gets late in the game. And certainly for research papers and projects and some of the project-based learning experiences that Scribble is really great for, we are able to help you see earlier than you might otherwise see where the problems might be arising. And that's kind of part of our design philosophy, is that we're trying to make it easy for use the power of modern data and software to help you all and the teachers you work with sort of identify situations that are going off track before they get too far. Because with things like research papers or some of these project-based learning experiences, if you don't find out till late in the game that Kara's far behind, oftentimes so much work that has accumulated over time that it becomes really hard to jump in at the last minute, help her do a good job, and have her learn all the important skills that you would have hoped she would have mastered along the way. The last column here is a little bit different. It's actually about the kind of media literacy, if you will, at a high level. When students are curating information into Scribble, we're able to bucket them into some major categories. So for example, we could show you that 2 of these articles are coming from government websites, one's a Wikipedia article, which might be a no-no, 2 are coming from academic websites, and so forth. We're also compatible with a lot of the databases that are used out there, like Gale and EBSCO, Britannica, and so forth. And so we can show you whether students are actually using those vetted sources of information that you're typically paying for and training them on and encouraging them to use, or and if so, which ones, because we can show you on a per assignment, per student basis, which ones are being used by the students for their work, or are they just Googling it? And if so, what kinds of open web resources are they using? I'd say this is early work we've done in the area of media literacy, but we have a lot more planned there. And that, as everybody knows on this call, has gotten a lot more important over the last 5 years because of all the sort of misinformation, disinformation stuff that we're dealing with out in society. The last thing I'll mention that isn't really covered in the video and on the slides is actually from a teacher or librarian's perspective, your ability to kind of access the work itself. So this is the data around the work that you're seeing on the slide, but we actually give you access to the underlying work as well. And that's because when you have an assignment in our system, we create what's called an assignment library for every student for that assignment. And that assignment library houses all the different components of the student's work. So for example, there's a sources tab that contains all the students' curated research articles. There's an annotations tab that includes all their annotated evidence. There's a bibliography tab, the outline editor under the outline tab. We even have a papers tab where we embed, for example, the Google Docs viewer. So we did this originally to centralize the work for students, but the byproduct for you all and the teachers you work with is that we then make that assignment library available for you at any point during the time the student's working on that assignment to be able to jump in and see any of that work and be able to provide real-time feedback along the way through a feedback mechanism that we have. And then when students submit the assignment at the end, they're not just submitting that paper that was the ultimate deliverable from that assignment, but you're also able to see, because they're submitting it, that assignment library along with it, which is kind of like an encapsulation of that pre-writing process that led up to and yielded that final work product or that paper. So we kind of capture the process, if you will, along the way in that assignment library, and that is what is made visible to you when students submit that assignment as well. And that'll become really important when we talk about the AI problem here in just a minute. I won't go too deep on this, but we're happy to say that we take universal design for learning pretty seriously and accessibility quite seriously. And so we've built a whole bunch of accessibility features like the ones that you see on the slide. There's a lot more I could say about this, but in the interest of time, I'll sort of skip over it for now. But certainly get in touch, and we're happy to demo these features or talk about some of the other accessibility features that we've built that are not on this slide. I think when you think about potentially working with us or using Scribble, what I like to point out is that what we've built is pretty broadly useful because it's useful really for different types of projects and assignments that we'll talk about a little bit lower on the slide. But the kind of work we're trying to help students be better at is the kind of work that's written into a lot of state and national standards. It's the kind of work they have to do in a big way when they go to college, where they have to write college sort of term papers across different subjects. And our sweet spot tends to be secondary and humanities and general science. But if you look at the slide, you'll sort of see here that there's a lot of programs and projects for which we're a really great fit. And then certainly on the right, there's a lot of initiatives that I think we support really well. The one I'll just call out because I think it's really novel is that we have done something really interesting to support the transition from high school into college. So the college readiness one is something that we've taken seriously from the beginning. Scribble, unlike a lot of K-12 ed tech tools, has been built for portability from high school into college. When a student graduates from high school, they can associate a personal email address with their Scribble account and basically convert that to a personal account that they can take that with them to college. So pretty useful for them to be able to continue having access to that resource. And then, of course, one of your own has been an early and long-standing customer of ours. This is Emily Leonard. She is the head librarian there at Menominee Falls High School. I'm just going to go ahead and sort of play this as well. It's very short. It's about 30 seconds.
Hi, I'm Emily Leonard, and I'm the Library Media Specialist at Menominee Falls High School. We recently began using Scribble, and so far we've used it in the English classes at all of the levels for their research projects. And so far we have been loving using Scribble. The teachers have remarked to me what a game changer it is for their research because it saves both them time and it saves so much time for their students. Students are easily able to annotate web pages and PDF documents in their Scribble libraries, where they can also create outlines and bibliographies and works cited. So Scribble's been a total game changer for our research process, and we are super excited to be using it.
All right, so that's that. And that's also, I believe, linked to from our Scribble WiLS page, or the Scribble page on the WiLS website. So if you want to take a look at what Emily's saying again, you can do that. It looks like we're probably going to be out of time to cover this in depth. Maybe I'll just sort of cover a couple of highlights and not go through everything in detail. Note that we did actually do a whole webinar about this a few months ago that's really focused on how to solve the AI plagiarism problem. And so maybe that's something Jeff could include in the follow-up email as well, if there's space in that email for that link. But the high level that I think is worth maybe quickly mentioning is that, ever since ChatGPT launched, there's been a lot of concern by teachers and librarians about students sort of taking the shortcut of using an AI bot to do their work for them. And I think that concern has been validated in a bunch of different ways. I've heard a lot of examples of that actually happening. But also, here's a survey that was done by Junior Achievement last summer, where they asked over 1,000 middle and high school age kids what they thought about AI. And 44% of them said that they're likely to use it to do their schoolwork for them instead of doing it themselves, even though 60% of them consider that some form of cheating. So it is a real thing. It is already happening. You've probably seen it yourselves. And I think that the reason why this is a concern for a lot of us is that because we sort of feel that if essentially, you outsource the work to the machine, you're not developing those critical thinking skills and developing those key cognitive skills by going through that productive struggle in your own brain as we normally would have done. So there's an authentic learning concern, and increasingly there's also an academic integrity concern that's being put out, that's being sort of identified through a lot of district and state level AI guidance policies. So it is something that's going to be, I think, emphasized more going forward. And again, in the webinar that we did about a month or two ago with WiLS, we went into a lot of other sort of related issues. But the one I'll just emphasize here, given our time constraint, is that there are a lot of people out there still thinking that using an AI detection algorithm is going to help save the day and help them sort of identify when students have used ChatGPT or an AI bot to do their work for them. Unfortunately, we've had about a year with these things now. Turnitin and other platforms have developed these sort of AI detection algorithms, but unfortunately, they've sort of proven unreliable because they've identified things incorrectly. So there's been both false negative and positive rates there that have been really concerning to educators and really kind of cause some controversies. We're here to say that fortunately that's not the end of the story, right? Just because the detection algorithms don't work doesn't mean that we're helpless and there's nothing we can do about it. Those products have not worked out well because they treat writing as the end work product, right? They just look at the text in the document at the end of the process. But if you treat writing like a process and not just the end work product, it becomes a much more solvable problem. And so what we've seen happen over the last year is that process over product has been emerging as the best practice for assessment in the AI era. And we came to this very early, given the work that we've been doing in the writing process from the get-go. But a lot of other people thinking independently and deeply about this problem have come to similar conclusions. And so, at the end of the day, I think what we are able to offer is Scribble, now that you see how it works, is really able to make the process visible to you and the teachers you work with. And through that assignment library that gets handed in at the end of the assignment, we're able to show you essentially proof of process, right? We can show you that students have actually done the work along the way that yielded that final work product. And in conclusion, we're able to basically do for writing what we've always asked kids to do in math, which is show your work. So there's a lot more here I could say about this, but I'll kind of maybe kind of cut to the end here and say that this is a way in which we're actually able to help mitigate the downside risk of AI. There's a graph that we launched that actually kind of makes the process more visible that I can talk about more in a follow-up call if you're interested in working with us. And that we are not anti-AI. We are actually looking at leveraging and integrating AI into Scribble. So you'll see that from us in the new school year in some form. But we also wanted to let you know that we are not only about doing the whiz-bang cool things with AI that everybody is trying to do right now. Again, you'll see that from us in the new school year. We're also about mitigating the downside risk, and that's how we think that you actually use AI responsibly. You got to pay attention to both, and that's something we can help with. And if you're on this call, you know that we're WiLS partners, so there's ways that you can work with us if you want to in the next school year, using a WiLS discount and using Common School or federal stimulus funds, which we'd love to talk to you about if you're interested. So let me stop there, as I think I might have gone over by a couple of minutes, but would love to work with you. Get in touch even if you just want to learn a little bit more or learn a little bit about what we've learned about AI this year.
Thank you again for joining us, Victor. I'm always pleased to have you on our webinars and Taco Tuesday. As Victor mentioned, we've actually done two separate webinars about combating AI plagiarism, one geared towards our K-12 members and one geared towards higher ed. Both of those are available on the WiLS YouTube channel, and I will link to them in the email, like you mentioned, Victor. So if you're watching this recording, you already have those links at your disposal. Check them out. They're really fascinating looks at a deeper dive into that specific topic of how Scribble can help deal with that issue. Thanks again, Victor.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to take us one more time to our landing page here, just to tee things up for our fourth and last presenter today. I'm very excited to be joined today by Barry Young, who's coming to us from a brand new WiLS vendor partner, ReadSquared. Barry, are you on the line?
Well, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for inviting us. Thank you to WiLS for bringing us in and allowing us to partner with WiLS. I'm Barry Young. I'm a CEO and co-founder of ReadSquared, and I don't want to get too much down the weeds in background, but we're actually been in business 30 years this month, and we're historically a custom software development company. And how we got into developing reading programs for libraries and schools was we had worked at a state. We had done a bunch of social service programs, and in any case, the state library came to us, and they had a county that didn't like the reading program software solutions that were on the market. So they put together a requirements document. We won that project and developed the first version of ReadSquared, and we do maintain license to that and now provide all the support and so forth. But anyway, that's how we got where we are. If anybody wanted to learn more, I know on our WiLS page, you could go to readsquared.com or readsquared.org. It'll put you to the same place. You could link over to demo sites. You could log in as a patron. You could run through different programs. We do have many programs to choose from that are based on CSLP or iRead and so forth. Let me see if I could make this bigger again. There we go. Again, I think I've logged into a demo site here, but let me just jump over here. Here's a control room with the administrative interface. Right here, every year we partner with CSLP or iRead. I believe Wisconsin mostly, joins the CSLP and uses those programs. But every year we partner with them and develop all the graphics that will work on the web within ReadSquared, the website and the app. So with ReadSquared, you get, your own personalized website, your own fully seamless integrated app, meaning if you put up a new program, it's immediately available to your patrons within the app. I know I don't have a lot of time here, but ReadSquared is very full featured. You could turn features on and off by program. There's, you could present the missions or activities within a bingo board on a list of activities within a mission. You can provide reading lists. And again, these programs are pre-built, but you could create your own. You could take a CSLP program, whether it's for, pre-K or kids or what have you, and you could make any changes you want to. You could add your own activities and so forth. All these are all available off of the ReadSquared site, readsquared.com, and you could go to each one of these demo sites. We have seasonal programs. And again, to get one of these, hey, I want to do something reading with my peeps, or fall in love with reading, or fall into reading, maybe something for Halloween, you could always download those. And they're really ready to run. All you need to do is verify that when people register for these programs, you're collecting the data that you want to collect. I think that's a little different than our competitors. You can collect different data by program, even if it's the same age group. So, for example, if you're running a summer pre-K program, you could collect a certain amount of data. And then if you're running 1,000 books before kindergarten, which is an ongoing year-round program, perhaps you want to collect more or different data. You could do that within ReadSquared, and participants could join as many challenges or programs as you have running. So obviously a pre-K child could be in both the summer and 1,000 books before kindergarten at the same time. We have a bunch of what we call extra programs. There's one, Smokey the Bear, that has all the, themed badges and activities and completion certificates and so forth. So you could integrate this, you could have this as a separate program that runs year round, or you could just take what we call our missions, which are what we call our activities. A mission could have 1 or 50 activities, right? And you could award badges and prizes for them logging that they've completed either 1 or 10 activities or the complete mission. And again, these all can be different by age group. We found out pretty quick, your adult patrons don't, their programs, their visuals, their activities certainly don't match your teen programs or your children's program. We also have a school version of ReadSquared. And again, we have, a number of pre-built programs for that. With ReadSquared, of course, we do, the rostering for the school or district or what have you. Our largest district is Mesquite in Texas, with 40,000 students, and all their schools participate with ReadSquared. But again, there's full customization, and again, there's different challenges that you could create or use one of ours, download it, use it as is, or modify it accordingly. So I've gone back to the dashboard. I've logged in here, and again, when you start with ReadSquared, a question I get a lot, well, how long does it take to set this up? Well, literally, you could be done in an hour. You download, let's say you're going to run CSLP for the summer. You're going to run the 4 age groups that CSLP recommends. They're all pre-built for you, okay? You would want to go in and check what we call the registration fields. What data are you going to collect when an adult signs up? What data are you going to collect when a teen signs up? So you just need to verify that. Of course, you need to verify the begin and end dates. And then from there, it's if you do physical prizes, you could go in and link a physical prize to the triggering of a badge. So if a badge is awarded at 500 minutes of reading, you could trigger a prize there. And again, you could log whatever you want, and literally whatever you want. It could be books, minutes, days, We've had libraries do volunteer hours, okay? But you can really log whatever you want. It's that flexible and whatever you want by program. And now that I'm logged in, this is just my demo patron account here. I'm in the adult program. The dashboard is what it is here, but it could be changed. You could simplify the dashboard. And ReadSquared, every one of the pages could be customized with drag and drop gadgets. Okay, you could turn this avatar if you off if you wanted. Maybe you want it for teens and not adults or what have you. It has a build your own avatar, so they can build the pieces if they want to, or you could do static pictures. And you could also allow them to upload their own picture if they wanted to do that. And we see a lot of pictures of the family dogs. So, but then if you're a parent, you could register your family members, and those family members could be other adults, like a spouse or what have you. And certainly your children or if you're a caregiver, everybody within your unit, family unit there. But if you are that parent in an account, you could switch to your Kyle's, your Kyle's account. That's my demo site here, but you could switch to your children's account. You could see that Katie's in the 1,000 books here, and she could be in a number of programs at once. But again, if you turn off features, we've got a lot of features turned on. Okay, the game board just gives you a visual representation of where you're at in the program. Your avatar would move around. We do have what we call mini games. Okay, these could be turned on and off by program. You could select what games you want. For our younger patrons, there's read-alongs, and there's logic type games that you could do. There's word searches. These are all read-alongs here. Okay, Screen Actors Guild put a lot of these out, and we use those. But there's also logic and memorization type games, which are more geared towards adults. But if I go back to Kyle's account here, you could tell that it's his dashboard. Okay, but we've simplified it. There's log reading and missions. Here are the activities. Okay. And I could click on these activities and then go ahead and ask someone if they need help. And by completing activities, they could be on the honor system, like this example, or you could actually ask them a question and they have to get a correct answer. We learned pretty quick there's more than one correct answer. So in the administrative interface, you could put multiple, correct answers where they would complete that activity. You could ask open-ended questions, and you require a certain amount of text. And we also got the request that libraries and it was this especially perhaps during COVID, but they were doing crafts at home or crafts at the library, and they wanted to complete the activity. You had to upload a picture of your arts or crafts or whatever you had built for that particular activity. So, and all this works on a phone, whether it's on an Android or an Apple phone. The interface is the same, and like I said earlier, if you implemented a new program, if you changed anything, added a new mission perhaps, it would show up immediately in the website when you refresh the browser, and it shows up immediately within the app. Okay. Other features, with ReadSquared, you could allow participants to set their own goals. That was one request we had. So, if you say adult program, the goal is 10 books, and you have patrons that are reading War and Peace, and they say, well, my goal is 5 books. You could allow them to do that, and they would complete the program after 5 books and earn all the badges, and or if you had prizes attached at certain levels, they could win that. Or if they completed the program, maybe they get into a opportunity to win some prize in a raffle. But we have raffles, we have random drawings. Random drawings are really librarian triggered. The librarian says, I'm going to pick 5 winners from the adults who've read, at least 5 books this summer. Okay. and the library executes that random drawing. Raffles are a little different. In raffles, you could define the prizes that you're going to raffle off, okay? And what happens is when patrons participate in your program by logging their activity, they earn points. Well, they could buy raffle tickets with their points, okay? And you could put prices on raffle tickets. So maybe that, if you want to, if you're raffling off an iPad, maybe that's gonna, you need 100 points to get one raffle ticket versus, let's say you're doing movies to the theater, perhaps movie tickets, and you only need 10 points to buy a raffle ticket for that. But it actually tracks your inventory and how many tickets have been sold, and then at some point you execute the raffle, and it automatically formats an email and allows you to click on a send button to send an email to the winners, or you could contact them by phone or however you decide to do that. So we looked a little bit at that, the game board, the badges. I guess I'll just go into badges. But again, this is the badges. I might be in not sure what program I'm in here, but again, the badges all match the theme. We just did the Smokey the Bear one. And again, there's quite a few programs. This is an example. You could actually do bingo, okay? And these happen to be the honor system, but just like the activities on a mission, with bingo, you can define how they need to complete that activity when they click on the square. And that could be, you have to get a correct answer, right, to a question, or you need to type in a little something, okay? But you could define how a patron completes a square, okay, other than just the honor system. You could create your own reading lists. Again, we create reading lists that match the theme. Again, we get a lot of that from CSLP. The Smokey the Bear program had, recommended reading, so we built reading lists from that. These all link to your catalog, okay? If you have novelists select, they reached out to us, and we integrate with them if you do have a subscription for read-alikes, okay? And again, powered by Novelist here. So we integrate with them. If I click here, you can go straight to log the book. If you want to reserve it, this will link to your library's catalog here, okay? And then they could add it to their wish list, which is what they want to read next, right? So if I go back to the home page here, to read later, right? This is my wish list. And again, I already read Cat in the Hat, so you could remove that from the wish list if you like. I know I've gone pretty fast, but I know 15 minutes don't have a lot of time, but I would encourage you to go to, ReadSquared.org or ReadSquared.com, and you could you could try a demo, you could watch a video. And if you want to reach out, we'll do one-on-one demos for anybody that would like to learn more.
Barry, thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited to be partnered with ReadSquared now and to get you on Taco Tuesday today. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, you bet, Jeff. But I did want to mention, I don't, just because ReadSquared's a lot less expensive, especially as being a WiLS member, we think we do have the most feature-rich, flexible, and easy-to-use product with reports and everything you need on the administrative end too. So again, if you want to learn more, just reach out to us and we'll send you information. We'll give you access to the administrative interface and you could have a look for yourself. So thanks again, Jeff. Appreciate WiLS inviting us, and everybody enjoy their tacos today, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks again, Barry. All right. Well, I'm going to take us to kind of our wrap up here and say thank you again. Thank you to Barry for joining us for Taco Tuesday. Thank you to all of our presenters. You can see the vendors who are represented here today. Thanks for presenting, and thank you for attending, those of you who are here live, those of you who have been watching the recording. If you have had any questions about any of the things you've seen here today, please don't hesitate to reach out to us here at WiLS. The best way to get us is at that coop@wils.org email address, but you'll also have access to the email addresses for our presenters today in the follow-up message that came along. So we are wrapping up for today, but we will have another Taco Tuesday again 2 weeks from now on June 4th at 11:30 a.m. So we hope to see you then. Take care, everyone, and have a great afternoon.